Hello, everyone, and welcome to Decked. My name is Tyler, and with me is my friend Ray.
How's it going, Tyler?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So here on Decked, we play tabletop games. We come back and videotape them, as you can see, and then we come back and comment on them afterwards and to talk about how it went and what we thought.
Yes.
And today you're seeing on the screen a match between Rod on the left and Carlo on the right. They are playing Call of Cthulhu, the card game, at a tournament held at Brap's Magic in Burlington, Vermont a little while ago. Just now they are shuffling and cutting and shuffling and cutting to really randomize those cards.
I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I love Carlo's playmat.
It is a gorgeous playmat. And I also enjoy his one-card cut.
Yes. Unless you have mulliganed, and then he takes 2 cards.
Oh. See, I'm not I'm still not fully into card game tradition, so I often forget to offer the cut.
Oh, well, yeah.
Carlo is upset about something. We'll find out in a minute here. They're rolling to see who goes first, and I think people may be able to pick up on what Carlo's upset about because Rod is playing a deck called Knight of the Avatars, and it's all about Carlo's favorite mythos entity. If anybody can't guess from his playmat.
Well, it's, if I recall correctly, because you and I were playing a game just off camera during this, there was a fair amount of looking at the camera done by Carlo during this.
You see his face more in this match than you have ever seen his face on Decked.
Than you've ever seen any of our faces
It's
on
true.
Decked.
I work pretty hard to keep my face hidden. Rod, he likes to peer over and really read the cards.
And I'm just camera shy.
Yeah.
That's not true. I keep offering to be on camera, but Tyler's like, no.
Yeah, I had to fight him on that at one point.
No, Tyler's like, no, we don't need to scare away the viewing audience, and I kind of have to agree with him on that one.
The studio is not configured for appropriate lighting, and I don't plan on configuring the studio for lighting.
I can't blame you there, honestly.
Studio B has a very minimal operating budget.
Yes, very minimal.
As we really run on the grace of borrowing things and public access.
Yes.
So Carlo's resourced his cards. Oh, by the way, Carlo is playing his syndicate deck, the black.
Oh, here he is, because there was a mulligan.
The 2-card.
The 2-card.
The 2-card cut. He's playing a syndicate deck he calls the Black Network, which is a big change for Carlo because up until now, all his tournament plays have been with a mill deck, appropriately called Project Mill.
Yes.
And now deck viewers might have seen the Black Network before, but this might be a newer version of it after I made some maybe poorly chosen comments. And we'll see if that comes up during the game. I mean, poor for everybody else. For Carlo, they work out great.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's showing our. There was at Brap's Magic. There was a large box of common Magic cards, and Carlo grabbed one of them out of there, and he determined that was the trophy for the day.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great tradition. We're going to sign it every tournament we have. It'll just be like, this is the thing that passes around from winner to winner. And by that, I mean, goes home with Carlo every time.
Exactly, because Carlo seems to consistently win.
He's very consistent.
We're going to have to start playing a game he doesn't play yet so we can win a couple rounds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get a couple games and then you're done.
Yeah.
So Rod's deck, Knight of the Avatars, is all about the avatars that came out in the Thousand Young box. They're avatars of Nyarlathotep, sort of his human faces that he will wear for a time and then burst out into full glory as the messenger of the ancient ones. And like Ray mentioned, any gesticulation you may see on Carlo's part is really frustration that he is not playing the Nyarlathotep deck.
Yes, Carlo is just... there it is. There it is.
It's just Nug.
It's just Nug, yeah.
So he managed to pop Nug out into play, which is allowing him to add a resource to all his domains.
Right. There's actually a possibility that this was done wrong, because I do believe yes.
Because he threw the Guardian down and was like, allows me to do Nug.
Right. He thought the Guardian allowed him to play the card, and it doesn't.
That's a misplay. So Carlo is also expressing frustration at cheating. It's the classic put into play distinction, I think.
Yes, yes.
Because the Guardian it allows you to put a day or night card, pull it from your deck, and put it into play.
No, allows you to pull a day or night card and put it into your hand.
Oh, okay. So
is what it is. And Rod thought it was put it into play.
right,
So.
and even in put into play would not qualify with Nug because it was errated. You must play it.
Yes, you must play Nug, right.
A hard cast, I think some people call it.
Yes, hard cast.
Not necessarily a hard cast. Now that I think about it, you could discount Nug.
No, you can discount them. That's true.
You still have to pay for Nug.
Right. You have to play him from your hand. He cannot be put into play by another effect.
That when a Nug was originally not errated, I believe there was a lot of discussion about how that wrecked a couple tournaments.
Here we have Carlo bowing down to Nyarlathotep.
He likes to pay homage. So this is a very up and down first turn for Rod. It's like, oh, great things. Oh, not so great things.
Right. Oh, I'm doing this. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not.
Carlo's become very opinionated.
Yes.
We have not had the opportunity to invite him into the studio for one of these recordings. So this is as close as he's ever going to get to expressing an opinion about what the heck's happening.
This is true.
So instead of so Rod used the festival to find a new festival.
Yes.
To resource on a domain, because the festival is a recycling effect where you sacrifice a resource to go get a card to become a new resource, and in the case of the festival, it can be taken from the discard, put back on a domain.
Yes.
So it's a nice ramp effect that shows up in a lot of Shub-Niggurath decks.
And there's a reason why it's restricted.
Mm-hmm. Again, there was that magic window where it was crazy bonkers because it had not yet been restricted.
Right. Okay, so we've got Jacob Finnegan, a Clover Club bouncer, it looks like. And I don't know what the first card he played down was.
Well, I definitely see a pit boss.
Pit boss, not bouncer. Thank you.
Then that's Johnny V's dame.
Johnny V's dame is in the back there. Okay.
She's a criminal discounter.
Yes.
And Jacob Finnegan is a crazy way to gain success tokens.
Yes. If you succeed at a story where Jacob Finnegan is, you get to add an extra success token. However, if you do not succeed at a story where he is, he gets put on the bottom of your deck, which means he's the worst defensive card you could possibly get, because he will, if you play him on defense, he automatically goes to the bottom of the deck because you cannot succeed on defense.
But when you're confident that he will be unopposed, as in this scenario, he's great.
Yes.
Because while Rod was playing Shub-Niggurath, might have had a Black Dog. We already knew his restricted card was the Festival.
Right.
Black Dog, a recent addition to the restricted list. It's very sad.
Otherwise it would have been a perilous foray possibly to go ahead like that.
Now, I've noticed, though, in our group, none of us really seem concerned about Black Dog because no one's played Black Dog.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really... I didn't own a Black Dog until about 2 weeks before it got restricted. And unfortunately, there's just so many other cards, Shub-Niggurath side, that are restricted that I would rather play than Black Dog most of the time.
Yeah, they were clearly making a move towards restricting all the cheap jumpers.
Yes.
Now there are only a couple now that still can be jump into play, and they're fairly costly or have certain conditions on them.
Right. The Rules Nightmare King, the Claret Knight.
What is he immune to again?
He's immune to triggered effects.
Except his own.
And then whenever a tactic card is played, you may ready him. Which I'm guessing Rod's not packing many tactics, but there's a very good chance that Carlo would be, because tactics are a favorite card of many Syndicate deck.
They featured heavily in Denizens of the Underworld.
Yes,
like that was where tactics really became a thing.
Yes. There
are a number of cards, at least 2 cards now that key off tactics. The Claret Knight here and Naomi O'Banion.
Yes.
Now, on Rod's side of the table, I believe he's just resourced Baron Samedi.
Yes, he has.
Who is one of Nyarlathotep's avatars.
And one of my favorite pieces of artwork.
I've always enjoyed the just the iconography of Baron Samedi in general, from the tradition that he comes from.
Right.
Top hats, graveyards.
Cigars.
Sure. Little booze.
All right, Carlo is readied.
So Rod's turn was really just putting down that one character and doing more and ramping further.
Yes, ramping further.
He's up to 4 now on one domain, which is pretty... That's really the sweet spot for the avatars.
Yeah.
I think most of them are 4, except Claude. Claude was the first avatar and came out several boxes ago. And I think everybody was a little puzzled about what's an avatar, what's the point.
Yeah, what's the point?
It's like Messenger. There's one Messenger in the whole game.
One high priest, I do believe.
Also true.
Yes.
And mutable.
Yes.
But on Carlo's side of the table, he's doing one of his favorite tricks with the Syndicate. That's throwing down a new domain with Eldritch Nexus.
Yes. Should point out that the way that our group tends to play Eldritch Nexus, which is what just happened, really isn't the correct way to do it, because Eldritch Nexus is technically in his graveyard at the moment.
That's true. The top card is supposed to be the domain, and then the next card is a resource, right?
No, actually, it's you just have any random card you thing you want to use as a domain, then the top card becomes the resource.
Interesting.
But that's technically in his graveyard, so if he had any recursion, he could technically get the Nexus back and play it again.
Now, is Nexus support or an event?
It's an event card.
Okay. Now I'm trying to think about Syndicate event recursion.
I don't know if there's a lot of Syndicate event recursion, but I know a couple other decks that our group plays. We tend to play it this way. And even if there isn't recursion, I mean, there's things that take cards out of graveyards and things like that. I mean, it is something that we should be mindful of going forward. And somebody probably would have pointed out that we were playing wrong if I hadn't said something.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Peter Clover just came into play.
Ooh, Peter. Peter is a huge pain in the ass.
Peter is I like Peter Clover. Never played the card. I just like the character.
He's a cool character. It's a cool ability. It's just hard to play against when you don't have any targeted removal.
Yeah.
Because Peter's ability can be applied to each story. And he can potentially push away one person from each story.
Right.
Carlo is now going for the how many characters do I want to stack up on a story to place tokens?
Right. He does have the Claret Knight that he has to watch out for across the way.
Mm-hmm.
He does have one of each icon, so...
The Claret Knight cannot be pushed away by Peter.
This is true. The Claret Knight cannot be pushed away by Peter. And on top of that, with the Pit Boss, don't have to worry about the terror icon on the Claret Knight.
Right. Pit Boss is another really beneficial character to the Syndicate because so many of them are criminals and then they gain willpower and immunity to the terror struggle.
Right. Playing it this way, Carlo just won 2 stories.
He's moving fast. It's Carlo's way.
It is. And this deck, I have seen this deck basically win 3 stories on turn 3. It's like, okay.
I'll be curious to see if you can line it up here, but I've played friendly games, casual, whatever games, where it was just, he's got it lined up so that all the stories are loaded down with tokens.
Yeah, all the stories have 4 tokens on them, and you're like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. And then he discovered Hack Journalist.
Yeah.
That was not me. I did not tell him about that one.
Fair enough. I didn't either.
Rod's turn. What's he going to throw down? We know he's got a nug in hand. Is he working to the nug? Is he working to an avatar?
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty sure he's got a... Or did he resource a Nyarlathotep earlier?
I did see a Nyarlathotep. I can't see a white card.
I think
That's definitely a white card.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that was a Plague Stone, actually.
He's got a number of resource neutrals, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Hey, he's got another Plague Stone. Good old Plague Stone.
Not enough to set it off, though, if I'm...
No, it's 3 and 2. He could pay for it.
Yeah, he could pay for it, you're right.
I know the Plague Stone very well. Really, it's another go-to card.
It really is.
Ever since it was like it's the character removal card ever since it supplanted Dimensional Rift.
Yeah.
That costs 4 and 3 for a similar effect. Except Dimensional Rift will take out support. So 1 committal with the Claret Knight there. Carlo cannot oppose actually.
Right. Then apparently, technically before story resolution, he's triggering the festival.
Sounds legit.
Okay.
There's a window there.
There is a window there. Technically, there wouldn't be 3 success tokens on the story at the moment, but...
And there's Claude.
Yes, that is Claude.
Claude is an off-faction avatar. He belongs to the Yog-Sothoth faction, and we have not yet seen any other purple resources, but maybe he's just been resourced to enable the playing of another Claude.
Quite possibly.
Oh.
And now he's triggering the Plague Stone.
Which the Cleric Knight can ignore.
Right.
Good play, Rod. Better than what I usually do. Just sweep all the characters off the table. We learned so much from this game, and that's what I like about this recording and commentary thing. Either we watch and we notice, or keen-eyed viewers on the internet watch and notice.
Right. And then we learn things,
Mm-hmm.
and then we play better, and then Carlo still beats us.
Yeah, we play better. Carlo beats us, and someday we swear we will start the game properly in terms of who does what and when.
Yes. You know what? That might have been what Carlo was pointing out at the beginning,
Mhm.
was that the game was started off correctly.
I don't know. I feel like Carlo tends to point things out when they go wrong.
There is that.
So he resources another Eldritch Nexus.
Yes. We should also point out that Carlo really likes the full heart cards.
He does. He's got some of the best.
He
Torch Singer, for instance.
Correct, which he has one resourced, and you can see his hand, so he's got one in hand as well. And nope, she's in play now.
And who's her friend?
I cannot tell you for the life of me.
Well, that seems to be the extent of his turn.
Yeah. It costs 2. It's got 1 skull. A very blue heavy artwork. Oh, here comes Nug. Nug has been put into play, so the build-up was for Nug, apparently. What you folks can't see at home is Tyler was just looking really closely at the screen to see if he could figure out what that card was, and he failed.
Ray, why are you so committed to destroying the illusion?
Because I like breaking that 15th wall.
Fine. So, I see Rod got Nug out. He got his ramping up.
Yes, he got his ramping
Holy cow, is he ramped? He's got 6, 3, and 2 now?
up. 6, 4, and 2.
4. So he may not need to resource any more cards.
Yeah, he might not need to trigger the festival ever again.
Unless he wants to put somebody in the discard for Resurrection.
Right.
Now that's an ability in Shub Niggurath I have not gotten to play with a whole lot. Like I've had decks where there's Resurrection ability, Corrupted Midwife, for instance.
Right.
It was just there was always something better to play, unfortunately.
I have been toying around with decks for a long time with Resurrection. In particular, Dark Rebirth is the one I tend to gravitate towards, but I haven't been able to build anything I really like yet that I would.
Dark Rebirth also very conditional to play,
It can only be night, and then
And-
you have to be focusing on a creature type.
and it's very loyal as well.
Yes, it is.
So he does play down a new Claude.
Yes, he does.
Claude's ability can resurrect characters from both discards, and then those characters will return to their controller's possession. So for instance, Claude could resurrect Peter. Rod could use him for a turn, but then Carlo would get Peter Clover back.
Right.
In this case, though, he's searching his deck.
I don't know why he was searching, but he went and got the... Oh, he was apparently triggering the festival.
Mm-hmm. Is that the agency avatar? I believe?
Yes, that was the agency avatar. I cannot remember his name, but he shuts down support cards.
Yes, he's the most impressive of the avatar effects for sure.
Yeah, he shuts down support cards, and then you can pay 1, I believe it's 1, to choose a support card and allow that support card to be used for that phase. I do believe
You
it
can
is.
unblank a single. Does he blank it? I think blank is the.
Yeah,
term he uses.
I do believe he blanks them all. Yes.
Yeah, and then you can say, well, that one won't be blanked.
Right. You can unblank one for a phase.
Now, Rod's probably making the decision here that Carlo has shown very few support cards used, if any.
Yes.
Carlo may just be resourcing them, but I can't. No, sorry, I do know one of that deck's support cards, and it just hasn't shown up, I believe, because it's very effective when it does. Verifying the use of Claude there. I mean, overall, Claude's a fairly impressive stat line.
He does. Actually, all the avatars have a really impressive stat line.
Mm-hmm. And he's the cheaper one. I think Claude's 3, and most of the others are 4.
Yeah, I think there was 2 3s, most of the rest were 4s, and there was 1 5.
5.
I could be wrong about that.
These cards are so new at this point. We haven't gotten a chance to play with them a whole lot. Like, this is...
I don't even own the set yet, so
I'm so disappointed in you.
you should be.
Rod's deck here is really the first time we've seen these avatars in play. It was the second match after the box dropped, because the recent Black Moon Games series was the first chance we had to get together after Thousand Young dropped.
Right. Nope, still can't tell who that is.
Yep. Committing the mystery
Character and the Torch Singer.
Oh, that Torch Singer. Where are you seeing the torch? Oh, there she is. She blends in so nicely with the card.
She
there.
does. Well, whatever that card was, it just went insane.
I think its name is Sacrificial Lamb.
Yeah, that might be a valid name for it. Was Nug just stopped by a singer?
That would startle me. Did they bump on skulls?
Well, she has one. I don't know how many skulls Nug has. I think he's Terror, Skull, Arcane.
That sounds plausible. I'm just so used to ancient ones being like... Rawr!
Yeah, so they would have bounced on skulls. Obviously, Terror went through, and then
And then he
won the Arcane. Yeah, and then they bounced on skill.
That Torch Singer. This is a lot of resourcing for Carlo. Usually he's got a lot of 1s and 1 3B with this kind of deck.
We should challenge Carlo to make a deck with at least 1 copy of all of the full art cards. He'd have to go full faction on this.
I think we'd have to spot him a lot of proxies. There have been a lot of full arts over the years.
That's true. 1 of each full art he owns. And we know which ones he owns.
Carlo, I'd like to give you this.
Yeah. Here, Carlo. Make use of this.
Well, Carlo did come up with an interesting format that we want to try out at some point. We're basically core set only.
Yes.
And I'm there. Now, there's the support card we all rue and hate, the Ice Shaft.
Yep.
Because you can play it and then sack it to destroy a character of X skill or fewer. I think it's 3 skill or less.
Yes,
But could Nug really be susceptible to an Ice Shaft?
Carlo and I
Yepper.
played. Carlo and I played a casual game, and I scooped when he got the combo out with that, which is your fault.
That is my fault. That was what I was alluding to earlier. There's a combo between Ice Shaft and Marcus Jamberg, where you can put Marcus back in your hand to put a support card from the discard pile into play or hand.
Into play, I believe.
So basically, with Marcus, you can cycle the Ice Shaft forever.
Yeah.
Unless you have something to keep it from moving out of the discard pile. And none of us really have packed that into our decks, except Carlo.
Except Carlo, right. Carlo does play with Snowgraves.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, he plays it in his mill deck as a way to keep his Yithian's scouts in his graveyard, but it does work when he has to play it on somebody else's graveyard for whatever reason.
I've seen people argue both ways with the Yithian Scout. You want it moving in and out. You don't want it moving in and out.
Yeah. In his deck, I think it's really more beneficial to have it keeping it in, because then you have to figure out ways to get rid of it.
Yeah, he does not have the sacrifice mechanic that other people build in, because they want to keep resetting the Yithian Scout's memory, so it could potentially mill one card as it moves in and out could potentially mill several times on a turn.
Right.
But Carlo has not yet built such a mechanic into that deck. So that now that I think that would be another interesting pairing for like the Silver Twilight's sacrifice ritual.
Here comes the bowing.
Mm-hmm. Paying homage.
Paying homage
to the.
If Carlo were a professional wrestler, I think he would take on the mask of a Nyarlathotep avatar.
The wrestler of the bloody tongue.
Yes.
Now this Nyarlathotep's ability is interesting, where after you win a story, you can put Nyarlathotep back into your hand to put an avatar into play.
I do believe so, yes. Oh, there's Baron.
Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting way as Nyarlathotep in the stories is known for wearing a lot of different faces at different points in a narrative. Right. And so the idea, I really like the way they turn that into a game mechanic of exchanging characters back and forth.
Yeah. Like, here I am, I'm an ancient one. No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. I've done something terrible, but now I'm going to transform it into an innocuous human.
Yep. Yeah, innocuous, because all those avatars are innocuous.
Rod continues to resource, I will point out. Now he's
Yes.
at 4, 4, 6, 5? I think it's 6.
446. Yeah, that's 446.
Is
That's
he
insane.
Is he building to shove Niggeroth?
I don't know.
He's got 2 avatars. He's got the Ancient One. He's got the Claret Knight. He's got a very beefy board.
I mean, right now at this point in time, if he were to bounce back Nyarlathotep, he could then replay Nyarlathotep and 2 avatars next turn.
Mm-hmm. Now he's just running on what's in hand, though. He hasn't really gotten any extra draw.
Right.
It's not an ability we've seen capitalize this game. Although anybody who's watched him use Kirby's Expeditions will see him reveal and draw like a madman.
Yeah.
So he's contesting with Carlo here, and then trying to double down on a previous success. It looks like Carlo's got 2 tokens, and Rod's trying to contend against that. And he sent in the Claret Knight, who probably has one of his few investigation icons.
Yeah. Yeah, the new Nyarlathotep doesn't have one, does it? I know the old one had one of each icon.
Yeah,
So.
he was a one of everything kind of guy. But that was a fairly human aspect of Nyarlathotep as well. He was,
Yeah, it was the Black Pharaoh. Yeah.
So
Which is the subtype on 2 cards because...
So it looks like Carlo has opted not to contest. He had the Torch Singer standing, and hard to tell how many domains undrained to use her ability. He could have drained off a lot of skill with that, but probably not enough to actually stop the check.
Right. And at this point in time, it's... Are we just running without a story in the middle of the game now?
I'm sure they'll catch on to it in a second. There it is.
There it is.
You gotta have faith in them.
At the same time, he's probably looking at it going, all right, I've got 2 stories, 1 already.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 1 story, 1 now.
Yeah, Carlo can potentially win. If he can get an investigation icon or an extra success token somehow, he could win that story this turn if he has enough tricks.
Right.
Which with the Torch Singer, not impossible.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Peter's already gone bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Syndicate has a number of 0 cost, you don't get to do anything effects as well.
This is true. Exhaust effects and...
Immurement on the Lamb.
Yeah.
Pay Tribute.
Pay Tribute might cost 1, but even then, he's got 4 domains.
So. It's very affordable.
Yeah.
Just admiring the height of Rod's domains. I can't take my eyes off them.
I know, it's kind of scary.
I mean,
he can't build them up much more. He won't have any room to put cards into play.
Right. That is the number 1 rule of domains.
It is. It's crazy. Now you got me staring at him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back.
Let's think about Carlo though. It's Carlo's turn. Let's focus on him.
I'm gonna go back to staring at Carlo's hand because he's obviously reading a card in his hand very intently there.
Now, I remember at one point in the tournament series, I got called over to act as a judge. That might be another match, though.
That might be another match.
He's really giving that card some thought.
Oh,
This is it. I'm being asked to confer. I and Carlo are gonna step away from the table for a second.
That's my arm.
That's an arm.
Because Carlo knocked off cards when he got stood up.
Mm-hmm. Carlo was very excited during this.
I was picking stuff up for him.
You can just look at the amount of thought he gave that question before he even brought it up.
Yes.
And that's really Carlo's way. He thinks a lot. And then there's bursts of activity.
Right.
And you have to track him because sometimes the thoughts don't match the actions. And it can be challenging. Okay. Certainly in Netrunner.
Here we go.
So Carlo's gotten his answer. The play he wants to do, as I recall, is legit.
Yes. I also recall what this play was. But we're going to let it unfold for you at home.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let Ray narrate this.
Why are you letting me narrate it?
Because you know what happened.
I don't remember what cards were used, though. I just know the end result. I have no idea what that card is.
Okay.
But I know when he plays it, it allows him to move success tokens.
Plays it or sacks it?
Sacks it. Something.
Hack Journalist has to be sacked.
That might be Hack Journalist.
Yes, that is the Hack Journalist. Hack journalist sucks to play against. Because it's like all your hard work is now mine.
Right.
So I think this is Rod checking to see what he can do about hack before that action happens.
Yeah, he's trying to see if there's any cards that he can pull out or anything like that.
Rod does not have an ice shaft, regrettably. Oh, he was checking Carlo's discard. Was he checking for Claude?
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, no abilities over there. They're going to help him.
And there's the game.
That's it. All right, so another game of Call of Cthulhu. If you haven't already, you should subscribe to Decked on YouTube, youtube.com/DeckShow. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we're going to let you go. See you next time on Decked.